Welcome to ExoticTravels, your window into the fascinating cultures and hidden wonders of our world. If you're passionate about uncovering the extraordinary in the ordinary, exploring diverse traditions, and experiencing the unexpected, you've come to the right place. Before we dive into today's journey, take a moment to subscribe to our channel and hit the notification bell. You won't want to miss our upcoming adventures that challenge perceptions and broaden horizons. Today, we're setting our sights on Indonesia, a nation of over 17,000 islands stretching across the equator. This archipelagic wonder is home to hundreds of ethnic groups, each with its own unique customs, languages, and traditions. From the lush jungles of Sumatra to the pristine beaches of Bali, from the bustling streets of Jakarta to the ancient temples of Java, Indonesia is a land of incredible diversity and endless surprises. In this documentary, we'll take you on a journey through Indonesia's rich tapestry of cultures, unveiling 10 shocking facts that will challenge what you thought you knew about this remarkable country. So sit back, open your mind, and prepare to be amazed as we explore Indonesia Unveiled, 10 cultural shocks that will transform your perspective. Let's begin our adventure into the heart of Indonesian culture. Number 1. The land of 700 languages. Our journey begins with a linguistic revelation that showcases Indonesia's incredible diversity. Brace yourself for this. Indonesia is home to over 700 living languages, making it one of the most linguistically diverse countries in the world. Dr. Abigail Cohn, a professor of linguistics at Cornell University, explains, Indonesia's linguistic diversity is staggering. It's not just dialects we're talking about, but distinct languages, many as different from each other as English is from Japanese. This linguistic tapestry is a result of Indonesia's geography and history. Spread across thousands of islands, many communities developed in relative isolation, leading to the evolution of unique languages. The largest language group is Austronesian, which includes languages like Javanese, Sundanese, and Balinese. However, in Papua, the languages belong to the Papuan group, completely unrelated to the Austronesian family. What's truly shocking is that some of these languages are spoken by only a handful of people. On the island of Alor, for instance, the Sawila language has fewer than 3,000 speakers. It's like having a living linguistic museum, says Dr. Cohn. Each of these languages represents a unique way of perceiving and describing the world. This linguistic diversity poses both challenges and opportunities. On one hand, it can make national unity and communication difficult. This is why Bahasa Indonesia, a standardized form of Malay, was adopted as the national language after independence. Today, it serves as a lingua franca, enabling communication across the archipelago. On the other hand, this linguistic wealth is a source of cultural richness. Many Indonesians are multilingual, speaking their local language at home, Indonesian in formal settings, and often English or another foreign language for international communication. Sadly, like many indigenous languages worldwide, many of Indonesia's languages are at risk of extinction. Urbanization and the dominance of Indonesian in education and media have led to younger generations abandoning their ancestral tongues. Efforts are being made to preserve this linguistic heritage. The Endangered Languages Project, for instance, is working to document and revitalize at-risk languages in Indonesia. Some local governments have also introduced programs to teach regional languages in schools. As we continue our journey through Indonesia, keep in mind that behind every interaction, every story, every tradition we encounter, there may be a unique language shaping the way people think and express themselves. This linguistic diversity is not just a fact about Indonesia, it's a fundamental aspect of its cultural DNA. Number 2. The world's largest Islamic population. With a twist. Our second revelation takes us into the realm of religion, where Indonesia once again defies expectations. Prepare to be surprised. Indonesia is home to the world's largest Muslim population, with over 230 million adherents. But here's the twist, Indonesia is not an Islamic state, and its practice of Islam often differs significantly from what you might find in the Middle East. Dr. Azumardi Azra, a prominent Indonesian Islamic scholar, provides context. Indonesia's Islam is often described as moderate, tolerant, and distinctively Indonesian. It's a result of how Islam was introduced here, not through conquest, but through trade and peaceful propagation, allowing it to blend with existing cultural practices. This unique character of Indonesian Islam is evident in many ways. Unlike some Muslim-majority countries, Indonesia's constitution is secular, recognizing 6 official religions: Islam, Protestantism, Catholicism, Hinduism, Buddhism, and Confucianism. What's more shocking to many outsiders is the syncretistic nature of religious practice in many parts of Indonesia. In Java, for instance, it's not uncommon to see Muslims participating in ceremonies with distinctly Hindu or animist elements. Take the example of the Tengger people in East Java. Despite being Muslim, they perform an annual ritual called Yadnya Kasada, where they throw offerings into the crater of Mount Bromo to appease the volcano god, a practice with clear pre-Islamic roots. This blending of Islamic teachings with local traditions is known as Islam Nusantara, or Archipelagic Islam, explains Drive. Azra. It's an approach that emphasizes harmony and adaptation rather than strict orthodoxy. This doesn't mean that Indonesia is free from religious tensions or that there aren't more conservative Islamic movements. In recent years, there has been a visible rise in Islamic conservatism, particularly in urban areas. However, the overall character of Indonesian Islam remains distinctly tolerant and pluralistic. One of the largest Muslim organizations in Indonesia, Nahdlatul Ulama (NU), with its approximately 90 million members, actively promotes a moderate, inclusive interpretation of Islam. NU has been at the forefront of efforts to counter extremism and promote interfaith harmony. Yahya Chalal Stakuf, General Secretary of NU, states, "We believe that the true essence of Islam is compatible with human rights, democracy, and peaceful coexistence in a diverse society. This is the Islam we practice and promote in Indonesia." The influence of this moderate Islam is visible in many aspects of Indonesian life. Unlike in some Muslim-majority countries, women in Indonesia occupy prominent positions in government, business, and society. The country has had a female president, and women's participation in the workforce is high. Moreover, Indonesia's Islamic fashion industry is booming, offering stylish and colorful interpretations of modest dress that differ markedly from the black abayas common in the Middle East. As we delve deeper into Indonesian culture, remember that Islam here is not a monolithic entity, but a diverse, living tradition that continues to evolve and adapt. It's a prime example of how Indonesia often defies easy categorization, blending the traditional with the modern, the global with the local, in ways that continue to surprise and fascinate. Number 3. The babysitters of the dead. Our third shocking fact takes us into the realm of the supernatural and ancestral reverence, showcasing a practice that may seem macabre to outsiders but is deeply meaningful to those who observe it. Brace yourself for this. In Tanah Toraja, South Sulawesi, some families keep the bodies of their deceased loved ones at home for months or even years before the funeral, treating them as if they were still alive. Dr. Kathleen Adams, an anthropologist who has extensively studied Torajan culture, explains, for the Torajans, death is not a single moment, but a gradual social process. The period between biological death and the funeral ceremony is seen as a transitional phase where the deceased is still considered sick, rather than dead. During this period, which can last anywhere from a few weeks to several years depending on the family's ability to save for an elaborate funeral, the body is preserved using a mixture of formalin and other traditional methods. The deceased is kept in a special room in the family home, where they are cared for as if they were still alive. Family members bring food and drink to the deceased, chat with them, and even include them in family photographs. Children may sleep alongside the body of their grandparent, seeing it as a normal part of family life. Johanna, a Torajan woman, shares her experience. "When my father passed away, we kept him at home for 2 years. We would talk to him every day, tell him about our lives. It helped us process our grief and feel like he was still part of our family." What's particularly shocking to many outsiders is the practice of periodically exhuming buried bodies for the Manin ritual. During this ceremony of cleaning corpses, which occurs every few years, families dig up their deceased relatives, clean the bodies, and dress them in new clothes before returning them to their graves. Dr. Adams notes, While this may seem gruesome to outsiders, for Torajans, it's a way of showing ongoing care and respect for their ancestors. It's also an opportunity for family reunions and for reinforcing social bonds. The funeral itself, when it finally occurs, is an elaborate and expensive affair that can last for days or even weeks. It often involves the sacrifice of dozens of water buffaloes and pigs, with the belief that these animals will accompany the deceased to the afterlife. These practices reflect a worldview where the boundaries between life and death are more fluid than in many other cultures. For Torajans, death is not an end, but a transition to another form of existence where the deceased continue to play a role in family and community life. It's important to note that while these practices are deeply rooted in Torajan culture, they have also been influenced by outside forces. Tourism has played a role in preserving and even reviving some of these traditions, as Toraja has become known for its unique funerary customs. Moreover, not all Torajans participate in these practices. Those who have converted to Christianity or Islam, or who have moved to cities, may opt for more conventional funeral arrangements. However, many continue to blend their ancestral traditions with their new religious beliefs. As shocking as these practices may seem, they serve as a powerful reminder of the diversity of human approaches to death and remembrance. They challenge us to reconsider our own assumptions about the boundaries between life and death, and the ways we maintain connections with those who have passed on. Number 4. The land where rats are honored guests. Our fourth revelation takes us to the island of Flores, where we encounter a custom that challenges our usual perceptions of household pests. Prepare to be astonished. In Toto village, rats are not just tolerated, they're honored guests at wedding ceremonies. Dr. Janet Hoskins, an anthropologist who has studied the cultures of eastern Indonesia, explains, in Toto, rats are seen as messengers of the ancestors. Their presence at a wedding is considered a blessing, a sign that the ancestors approve of the union. This tradition is rooted in the origin myth of the Toto people. According to local legend, their ancestors were led to their current homeland by a rat. As a result, rats are revered and protected in Toto culture. During a traditional Toto wedding, a specific ritual is performed to invite the rats to the celebration. The newlyweds enter a traditional house where plates of food have been set out not just for human guests, but also for the rats. Marcus, a Toto elder, describes the practice. We prepare special offerings for the rats, rice, meat, and other delicacies. We believe that if the rats come and eat the food, it's a sign that our ancestors are present and blessing the marriage. What's particularly shocking to outsiders is the reaction if a rat is spotted during the ceremony. While in most cultures this might cause alarm or disgust, in Toto, it's a cause for celebration. Guests will cheer and consider it a very auspicious sign for the couple's future. This reverence for rats extends beyond weddings. In Toto, it's taboo to harm or kill rats, especially within the confines of the traditional houses.